As pretty much everybody in the world is aware, Kendrick Lamar just came out with a brand new album. And I thought this was an interesting opportunity because there's some really cool things about it that I'd like to talk about. And the one thing that I'll start with is that this album has some incredible music. For me, being a musician largely based in jazz, a lot of the things that I'm always listening for, boy does Kendrick deliver on this album. A lot of rhythmic things that really stick out to me, and also there's a ton of really cool harmony going on this record.
Tell him you're...
I've been going through something. 1,855 days.
That piano right there out of the gate. Maybe it's something that you'd expect to hear, but to me, I was like, ooh, what a nice touch. And it's just really simple. Just a G major to an A flat major 7, but with that sharp 11. It sounds really cool because we're changing the harmony, but our melody note of that particular chord structure gets held out, and so it just kind of gives it this suspension type of feel. It's not a suspended chord. I feel like it's the perfect way to open the song, and because you're kind of feeling like, okay, everything's hanging on this one harmonic device, like, oh, it almost feels like it's preparing us to move in a direction or to start something. It's the beginning of a song. It just works really nicely, and it's so simple too. You know, just G major, A flat major 7 sharp 11, beautiful.
Going through something. Be afraid.
What is a bitch in a miniskirt? A man in his feelings with bitter nerve. What is a woman that really hurt? A demon you better off killing her. What is a relative? Make a repetitive narratives on how you did it first. That is a predator in reverse. All of your presidency with thirst.
Where he goes with this next, I was just blown away by.
On security, that mean I'm calling on God for purity. I wanna got me a therapist. I can debate on my theories and sharing it. Whoa. Consolidate all my comparisons, humbling up because time was imperative.
First we were on just G major, A flat major 7 sharp 11, and now we've introduced, and the contrast of stabbing staccato, right, to a nice sustained held out chord. And this is a D flat major 7 with the 6 in there as well. Beautiful chord, beautiful voicing of that chord as well. And then all we do is in between these phrases, we set it up with a little C major, just a half step transition back to that D flat major 7. Wow.
The new Mercedes with black G-Wagon away from it was all for rap.
I love this. It really uses rhythms that we would almost expect to hear in a jazz solo. I mean, in school, we always talked about how to develop more interesting lines of playing, and one way to make your stuff kind of boring oftentimes is to just play all of your lines start to finish within the bar line, and they line up really evenly with the beats. It's just a way of playing that kind of doesn't offer much in the way of being super interesting from a phrasing perspective. Because what we would talk about with how to make your improvisational phrasing more interesting is what we call playing over the bar line. It's allowing a phrase to begin maybe before the bar starts and anticipating and working into the bar, or you play in such a way that it goes over the next bar into the next phrase or the next measure or whatever. It's a much more natural way of playing. It's much more similar to how we speak. And so it makes for some more interesting improvisational lines. What we're hearing Kendrick do here is exactly that. I mean, it is a beautifully constructed phrase that has no bounds of being within a certain measure. It can flow over the bar line. There's accents that are picking up before the measure starts. They're going beyond the end of the measure, and there's lots and lots of upbeats and really creative usages of phrasing a particular sentence in a rhythmic way that just sounds so cool and works into the beat incredibly well. This is some of my favorite stuff when it comes to rap and hip hop. I mean, it just sounds so great. Just before we keep going, I want to let you know we have some huge things happening with the Cornell Music Academy, so stay tuned until the end and find out how you can get an insane discount on some brand new products coming up. Check this out. D flat major 7 to C minor 7, and then we have this transitional chord. Woo! That right there. That to me is one of the coolest things about this track. We have this. This is why this chord works so well, okay? Because we're establishing a center, we're establishing a harmonic device. This D flat major 7, which we can reasonably assume it probably have a sharp 11 in it as well. That works really well when we transition to the C minor 7, because for all we know, we're still using the same notes, and if we filled that in, it might still have the D flat, maybe not, but it still works. We haven't fundamentally changed the sound, really. These two are very diatonic, right? But then, before we turn the phrase around and start it over again, we include, wow, a major third up. So we have a major chord, and if you go a major third up from that. Now, in this particular key center of D flat major 7, what would the quality of our F chord be? Well, naturally, I mean, we're literally playing what is essentially an F natural minor scale. That sound, if we put it over F, is a minor chord. And if we put it back over D flat, we get that chord that we start our phrase with, our D flat major 7, okay? And then we shift to the C minor 7, which still doesn't use any notes outside of this, right? So when we go to our F chord, you might expect it to sound minor, because that's kind of what we've established. It sounds completely normal, but instead, what we've done here is we flipped it basically major. Now, I've been listening back and forth, and I don't know that I don't hear the major third like that, where it would be a true F major 7 chord. I think I kind of just hear this C over F sound. C major over F. But it kind of implies that it's major. And what a beautiful transition, because we're so not expecting that chord quality there. It's just like, whoa, comes out of nowhere. I mean, it's such a gorgeous, beautiful.
I met her on the third night in Chicago, North America tour, my eye closed. P544, she was a model, dedicated to the songs I wrote in the Bible. Eyes like green, penetrating the moonlight, hair done in a bun, energy in the room like Big Bang for theory. God, hoping you hear me. Phone up the ring, but tell the world I'm busy. Fair enough. Green eyes and the one that
Wow.
ain't enough.
Yeah.
I green different. Huh.
We kind of end the song in a different key, but using a lot of the same sort of elements here. Listen to this. We're using this B flat major 7, and we find ourselves on this G major 7, okay? In a sense, it's kind of doing a similar thing, where you've established a key center where if we were using B flat, maybe B flat Lydian, that scale right there, if we put G under that, it would be minor. It would be G Dorian, right? But instead we flip the quality to B major. Wow. This is a classic minor third motion. B flat to G. And you can continue that right on down, right? If we do another minor third after that, we wind up on E, and then we wind up on D flat back to B flat. That's why minor thirds sound so cool, because every time you drop a minor third, you are completely shifting the quality of the chord. Wow. Much of the piano on this album is the work of Duval Timothy, a very clearly extremely talented player, and who has released some works of his own. In fact, on Crown, we can hear Duval's own work being sampled as part of this song.
One thing I've learned, love can change with the seasons. And I can't please everybody. No, I can't please everybody.
Check that out. So we have this, right? And that plays 3 times, and then we have this beautiful little turnaround, right? So we've established it's this G flat minor sound. We're going to a D flat minor sound, and then up a half step to D major 7, and then we're gonna approach our 1 chord, our home bass, with a chromatic resolution. So we're gonna go to G major 7 here. So we have this D major 7 to G major 7, and then it drops back into the home bass of G flat minor. It's a beautiful little transition. This is another great example of Duval Timothy's playing on this record just being so fantastic and such a great fit.
Got the baby sniper standing on that Merc business, yeah, slime for ya. They ready for whatever. Always knew that everything would get better. And the show got created later. All the game came from the elders, like, hear me down. Me and my brothers, man, hear me down.
Yeah, so this is also really, really cool. Check out how the melody that we're kind of hanging on to this C in the top here, and listen to how it changes the quality of each chord as we move along, because we have this really cool progression going on, and it's based all around this C minor. So we're changing the harmony drastically, but we're sticking with this C as sort of almost like a thematic motif that just kind of holds everything together. And check out how it changes. So the first chord being C minor, it's obviously just the root. It's just a C minor triad. But then we go to this D flat major, and with the C, now that becomes the major 7th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's our C. So it's the major 7th of D flat major 7. And we're gonna go one more chromatically. Now we're gonna get to D, and what does our C become? It becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, except we have to flat that 7th to get our D dominant chord. Now, we're building up the dissonance throughout this whole sequence, because this is a straight minor chord. There's not a lot of dissonance happening there. It's just solid minor triad. And then we go to here. So this is our first, we're introducing some dissonance, although it's still very smooth because it's in the context of a major 7th chord. Beautiful, right? But now we go one more to this D. Now it's a major with a dominant. So it's a dominant 7th chord, and that's pretty dissonant because we have that tritone in the middle of the chord. So the whole time we're starting dark, building mystery, building dissonance, and then we kind of go back to this A flat major 7 to set up the turnaround. So it's almost like dark, question mark, bigger question mark. Oh, okay, now we're back at the beginning. You know what I mean? It's an absolutely beautiful chord progression, and Kendrick uses it brilliantly here. This is absolutely fantastic. So as we said, a lot of that is the work of Duval Timothy, and he did a phenomenal job on this album. But I do want to point out another way that the piano has been used on this album in a way that I think is just super cool, and that is as a sample from something much older. One of the things I've always really appreciated about Kendrick is his awareness and his appreciation for a lot of other genres of music that he tries to incorporate into his own. One of those is, of course, jazz. Well, in the track We Cry Together, he actually sampled a Gary Peacock record. It's a 1980 record called Shift in the Wind, and it featured Art Land on piano. Okay. If you blink, you miss it. It already went by, and here's the section we're talking about. This is one of the things I think is just so brilliant about really great sample work. Wow. Phew. Wow, what a groove. I mean, that's just insane. And the piano just fits in so perfectly. So what is it that we're actually using from this Gary Peacock record? That's it. Now here's what blows my mind about this. They knew this was there. They were aware of the record. They were aware of this particular track, which I've never heard of. And there's this one little section that doesn't even sound like it's necessarily a start or ending of a phrase specifically. And yet that little thing was enough to trigger, oh, let's grab that. And it's doing this dotted 8th note feel over this. It fits into the groove perfectly. How did they get there? Let's check this out. Quickly, I tried my best to recreate this. So you can see we've pulled in this snippet of the Gary Peacock record, and then we got to go find the actual point. So where's our actual point? We know it's somewhere in here. There it is. All right, so that's what we need to cut. So we're gonna find a way. Okay, we gotta get it before that high note because that wasn't in there. We gotta find it starting on the right place. Let's try that. That might work. Okay, pull it over and let's see. All right, so that's what it is. That's the section. Now we're gonna pitch shift it, and we're gonna pull it down a half step. I don't know why that's like that. We gotta fix that. Okay, and then. Okay. All right, we're in the vicinity. Let's compare. Let's see what it sounds like here. There it is. That's it. It really shows like this awareness of listening for these little intricate things that they're like, oh yeah, we can use that in this totally different way and make it sound incredible. This is nothing new. Sampling has obviously been a thing forever, as long as hip hop has been a thing. Well, probably before that too. But like, this is just such an incredible example of Kendrick's awareness of so many different genres of music, and I think that's part of what makes this record just incredibly cool to listen to. Coming at it kind of from a jazz background, there are just so many things that I'm blown away by. You know, and I feel like there are two main things that my mind goes to at finding the things in hip hop and rap that I really love. And a lot of that is based on rhythm, first and foremost. It's the connection to the lyrics and the poetry and the way those things are phrased into the music. That is something that I love to listen for. And the other is harmony. So often, especially amongst perhaps maybe jazz musicians, classical musicians, whatever, there can sometimes be this stereotype that hip hop or rap doesn't have harmony, but yet we've clearly demonstrated here that it very much does, and it has some really incredible harmony. Getting a really firm grasp on harmony is a very long process that takes a lot of practice, but luckily we have a massive announcement to make, and that is today marks the start of pre-sales of our brand new course, Harmony 101, and it is taught by none other than the director of jazz studies at my alma mater, Purchase College. He was my professor in school and one of the most effective teachers I've ever had, and that is of course David De Jesus. He came out and we worked to put together this course for you, and it is fantastic. I'm so excited to release our first course that's taught by somebody who taught me. Anything I'm able to talk about and help you guys understand, a lot of that is because of the things that Dave helped to teach me. He's phenomenal at it, and I know this course is going to be absolutely incredible for you guys. It's going to take you from the very beginnings of harmony and give an in-depth explanation with tons of examples of all of the components that you'll need to start really understanding harmony on a deeper level. And here's the best part. We are currently running a 50% off pre-release sale. The full course is slated to come out in July, but until then, you guys are able to get it at a massive 50% off discount. All you have to do is click the link in the description. You don't need a promo code or anything like that, but take advantage of it now because as soon as the full course comes out, that 50% discount will go away. Find out more at the link in the description down below. It is the best way that you guys can support the channel so that we can continue doing what we love to do, which is providing content for you guys. Thank you so much for your support. It really means a ton, and thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Let me know what you thought of the album down below, and let me know what else you think I should check out that would be fun to talk about from a jazz perspective in hip hop. That's gonna do it for me today. Thanks so much, and we will see you in the next video.